Here's some of the best mindsets I've acquired for running, and they should help you out. These mindsets primarily come from the book Relentless, Chris Williamson, and Alex Ramosi. So enjoy the video. The first thing you gotta realize is that all suffering is the same. When you get off the line in an 800, you have to understand that every man on the line, whether they trained with you that week or not, whether they go to your same school, whether they're even in your fucking state, they all have to deal with the same amount of suffering from meter 1 to meter 800. If you're wondering why guys are beating you, you have to sit down and understand that you guys are taking the same suffering. You just have to understand that the guys who are beating you, they're handling the suffering better. So when they feel lactic, they're falling on their form instead of just flailing around and their mind starts doing bullshit. No, they calm down. They know they're gonna push hard. They know they're gonna feel hard. They know it's gonna hurt. But since everyone's taking the same suffering, they know that you and your opponent are feeling the exact same. All you have to do is deal with it better and you win. But none of that matters if you don't get to the second principle, which is consistency. And I know this sounds cliche, but consistency is key. Consistency is key. Look at me. Look at me. Consistency is key. Yeah, so if you're the guy who you're skipping the long runs, coach is posting the training, and you're not doing it because you're just like, oh, it's fine. When you get to that line, you're going to be nervous. Because you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't take my training seriously. And hell, you might not even be like that. You might just come in and expect to fail. Which, in all honesty, I have less respect for you if you come in expecting to fail, because you never tried in the first place. But you gotta understand that, like, consistency is key in training. It's consistency in your warm-up. It's consistency in your race. But you just need consistent training and consistent habits. Like, sleep is a big one. Like, if you've been underperforming in your races, sleep good for like a week leading up to your race and see how, like, you just feel like fucking Superman. Like, you feel like a god on your race. I've done it personally, and I've come home with like big PRs. Like, that's how I got my first 2 flat. But just in general, you have to be consistent. If you're not consistent with your running, with your training, with your just healthy habits outside of training, hell, even your schoolwork, because you gotta understand that we're still student athletes. It sucks to say. Personally, I'd like to be an athlete, but we have to understand we're also student athletes. So if you're consistent with your sport but inconsistent with your school, guess what? You don't get to play the sport. So you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. I know some of you guys are going to say, oh, but schoolwork's hard, it's this, it's that. You got to understand, fuck how you feel. And that's our third principle. Yes, fuck how you feel. I will give it this one caveat, except for injury. My mental marker for injury is, if I can't walk, I probably shouldn't run on it. And that has kept me mostly uninjured. Like, I think my longest injury has been 2 weeks over the span of like 3 years running. Yes, but on the general, you have to say fuck how you feel, because how you feel is very subjective. It's very swayed. It can be like, if someone tells you a mean collection of the English language, that could change how you feel that day. Do you want something so fickle, so changeable? You want that to really be like what leads your training philosophy, because your goals are hard. Like, when you say I want to go to nationals, that goal is set. That goal doesn't change depending on that goal doesn't change depending on how you feel about your PR. You run the time, you go to nationals. That, like, nationals doesn't change depending on how you feel. Neither should your training. I understand there are going to be days where you feel beat up, where like the last place you want to go is practice. But when you go in and you sit down and you do the work, you do the warm up, you get the run in, and then you're after practice, I don't think there's ever a day where I went to practice that I'm just like, damn, I should have just stayed home. I don't think there's ever been a day of practice where I've been like that. Actually, I just got a bonus one in my head. Okay, so bonus one. This is how hard feels. Oh my God. When I tell you this mindset has changed how I look at it, like, a lot of my life, because you might say, like, I remember I used to think about it a lot. Like, why do I have to take this suffering? Why do I have to do this? Why does it hurt so much? Like basically, like, you just don't want to take the suffering. You want to live easy, right? No. No, you don't. Because when you live easy, you then look for problems to solve, suffering to go into. So it's just not worth it. But you gotta understand, right? I actually learned this from Alex Hormozy. This was originally like a frat bro story, but like, what is it? Personally, I find it very applicable to my life, which is when you come into something, right? And you think, oh yeah, this is gonna be hard, right? And you're going through it, and you're just like, it's way harder than you expected, and then you start complaining. You have to change your mindset into be like, oh, this isn't what I signed up for. You have to change it into, this is what hard feels like. And then everything, it's almost like this release. Like, it's like, you almost, like, everything almost feels like easier. Because then you're just like, okay, if this is what hard feels like, this is just what I gotta lock into. Yeah. Another one of my newest points, it's like, it'll seem cliche, but it also does make you better. How you see yourself is not how other people see you. So personally, I know myself throughout all my 3 years of training so far. I just thought of myself as like, bro, you're shit. You're not working hard enough. You're lazy. You're this. You're that, right? Like, I really like got into like David Goggins and like, you should get better. You're a piece of shit. Like, that was like, that's pretty much my MO. But when I talk to like my coach, my teammates, they don't see me as lazy. They're just like, oh yeah, he's hardworking. He's always aggressive. I'm just like, when I hear these things, I'm just like, are you trying to make me feel better or what? Like, it just doesn't compute. But this is how I came to realization that like, how I see myself is not how other people see you. When I step onto the line, from what I've heard to my teammates, if they didn't know me, they would be scared to race me. So I can assume that's how other people would feel. And that's an advantage for me. You have to find your own advantages and then use it for yourself. But if you're having problems with like all of what I've talked about so far, the biggest change I've done for myself is creating my own mental demon. You hear about people saying, oh, they got demons and stuff like that. A lot of people can like suppress it with like YouTube and Netflix and and like just sitting around like this. No. For me, my mind suppresses and gets rid of. So before, my mind could come up with 1,000 different excuses for why I shouldn't or couldn't run that day, right? Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm this. Oh, it's too late. Oh, it's too early. Like, it can come up with like 1,000 different excuses, right? But the problem is, once you create your own mental demon, none of that fucking matters. I remember the first one I created was, I can't sleep if I don't run. And that was a bitch. Because I'd hop into bed. I remember the day I established it. I hopped into bed and I couldn't sleep. For genuinely like 3 hours, I was there tossing, turning, doing all this. Like, and after that night, unless I was injured or something like it was an off day or something, I've never missed a run like that ever again. Because tossing around for 3 hours in bed, and it's not 3 hours like on my phone. This is like 3 hours of me trying to genuinely get to sleep, and my body just being like, we're not gonna allow it. You didn't fucking run. Go run. You have to basically make the stick for yourself, because you have to understand, past a certain point, there is no one holding the stick. It's all self-inflicted. It's all something you do to yourself. So sometimes you actually have to just get up, hold the stick, and be like, yes, you are both the horse and the rider at the same time. You're stronger now. And here's what I can say. Whichever one resonated with you today, do it today. Do it now, do it later, do whenever you're practice, do whenever you're training, just do it. Just choose one and apply it today, and hell, leave a comment if it actually helps you.